It is a sentence that, if you truly understand it, explains almost every dysfunction in modern society. He wrote, "All of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone." When I first read that, I thought it was an exaggeration. I thought it was just a philosopher being dramatic. All of our problems, wars, poverty, heartbreak, violence, surely those come from greed or hatred or a lack of resources. But the more I looked at my own life, and the more I looked at the world around me, the more I realized he was absolutely right. We are terrified of silence. You grab your phone before you even get out of bed. You put on a podcast while you make coffee. You listen to music while you drive. If you are left alone with your own thoughts for even 30 seconds waiting for an elevator or sitting in traffic without a radio, you panic. You reach for the pocket. You need the dopamine. You need the distraction. I used to think I was just bored. When the noise stops, the truth starts. When you are alone, you cannot hide from your insecurities. Noise is a drug. It numbs us. It allows us to go day after day without ever facing the person in the mirror. But here is the hard truth. If you cannot be happy when you are alone, you will never be happy when you are with others. You will say yes to things you hate because you are terrified of a Friday night with no plans. You will become a vampire, feeding on the energy of others to sustain your own fragile identity. In this video, we are going to perform a deep psychological surgery on this fear. I want to teach you the difference between loneliness and solitude. They look the same from the outside, a person sitting in a room by themselves. But on the inside, they are opposites. One is a prison, the other is a palace. One drains you, the other recharges you. If you have been feeling that hollowness in your chest, that anxiety when the notifications stop coming, you are in the right place. They will choose the distraction. If you are part of the rare group that is willing to face the truth to build a better life, click that subscribe button right now. Biologically, loneliness is a distress signal. It is an evolutionary alarm bell. For our ancestors, being alone meant death. So your brain evolved a chemical alarm system. When you are socially isolated, your brain releases cortisol, the stress hormone. It creates physical pain. It creates anxiety. It screams at you, "Find a tribe. Get back to safety." This is why loneliness hurts physically. It triggers the same pain centers in the brain as a broken bone or a burn. But here's the problem. We do not live in the wild anymore. Being alone on a Saturday night does not mean a tiger is going to eat you. Yet your brain still reacts as if it is a life or death emergency. In the modern world, this biological drive has been hijacked. We have confused connection with attention. We think that if we have 1,000 followers, we are safe. We think that if we are texting 3 people at once, we are loved. Why? and people can smell it. Have you ever met someone who is desperate for friendship? Desperate for a relationship? It repels you, doesn't it? It feels heavy, it feels sticky. You instinctively want to back away. That is the paradox of social interaction. The more you need people, the less they want to be around you. Because nobody wants to be your life support system. Nobody wants the job of filling your void. It is too heavy a burden for another human to carry. This leads to a cycle of performative living. We curate our lives for an audience. We go to places not to enjoy them, but to take a picture to prove we were there. We are like actors on a stage, terrified that if the audience leaves, we will cease to exist. If nobody texts me good morning, do I matter? This is the definition of slavery. You have handed the keys to your self-worth to strangers. But there is another way. The theologian Tillich put it perfectly. He said, "Language has created the word loneliness to express the pain of being alone. And it has created the word solitude to express the glory of being alone. Loneliness is passive. It happens to you. It is the feeling that something is missing. Solitude is active. It is something you choose. It is the feeling that you are whole. The transition from loneliness to solitude is the most important journey you will ever make. It is the journey from being a beggar to being a king. A king doesn't need you to bow to him to know he is a king. He knows. He welcomes guests into his castle, but he is perfectly fine when the castle is empty. In fact, sometimes he prefers it empty so he can think. How do we build the castle? How do we stop being the beggar? I believe it is because most of us are strangers to ourselves. If you were locked in a room for 24 hours with a stranger you didn't know, someone unpredictable, someone critical, someone moody, you would feel awkward. You wouldn't know what to say, you would feel anxious. That is exactly how you feel with yourself. You have spent so many years distracting yourself, performing for others, and suppressing your true thoughts, that you don't actually know who you are anymore. When the noise stops, the shadow comes out. Carl Jung, the Swiss psychiatrist, talked about the shadow. It is the part of your psyche where you hide everything you don't want to see. Your shame, your anger, your weird desires, your regrets, your traumas. When you are busy, the shadow stays in the basement. The noise keeps the door locked. But when you are alone, the shadow walks up the stairs. It sits on the couch next to you and it starts to talk. Why are you still in this job? Why did you let that person treat you like that? Why are you wasting your potential? Remember that embarrassing thing you did 5 years ago? This is why you run. You turn on the TV, you call a friend, you drink a beer. You do anything to avoid the conversation with the shadow. I learned this the hard way. A few years ago, I went through a period where I was terrified of being alone. I filled my calendar. I was out every night. I was the life of the party. I told myself I was living life to the fullest, but really I was exhausted. I was performing a character that everyone liked, but inside I was hollow. I was running a marathon just to stay one step ahead of my own thoughts. One weekend, a massive snowstorm hit. Everything was canceled. The power flickered. The internet was down. I was trapped in my apartment for 48 hours. Just me. No distractions. No audience. The first few hours were agony. I paced around. I felt this rising panic in my chest. I started cleaning things that didn't need cleaning. I checked my phone even though it had no signal. But eventually, I ran out of distractions. I had to sit down. I had to surrender. And the thoughts started coming. It was painful. It was like vomiting up poison that I had been swallowing for years. I cried for no reason. I felt angry at people I hadn't seen in a decade. But by the second day, something shifted. The panic subsided. The silence stopped feeling like an enemy and started feeling like a friend. I started writing. I wrote pages and pages of thoughts I didn't even know I had. I realized that I wasn't boring. I was actually quite interesting, but I had never given myself the floor to speak. I had been so busy listening to the world that I had deafened myself to my own soul. This is the hard step you have to take. You have to face the shadow. You cannot have peace if you are at war with your own subconscious. Solitude is the peace treaty. I want to pause here. This concept of the shadow is difficult. It's uncomfortable. Most channels won't talk about this because they just want to sell you quick hacks. But here at the Clarity Project, we go deep. If you are finding value in this breakdown and you want to master your mind, take a second to subscribe and like the video. It helps this message reach other people who are struggling in the noise. Now, let's look at what happens when you finally stop running. Developing your character. Once you survive the initial silence, you enter the phase of alchemy. This is where loneliness transforms into solitude. I want to give you a metaphor that changed how I see this. You had to dip it in chemicals in the dark. Your character is the photograph. Solitude is the darkroom. You need the darkness. You need the separation. That is where you develop. That is where the image becomes clear. If you are constantly exposing yourself to the light of social validation, posting everything you do, telling everyone your plans, seeking applause, you never develop. You stay washed out, you stay shallow. This is why we respect people who have an air of mystery. We respect people who don't need to tell us everything. We respect people who are comfortable in silence. We sense that they have developed something deep inside that doesn't need our approval to exist. Think about the greatest minds in history: Isaac Newton, Nikola Tesla, Einstein, the great artists. They treated solitude not as a punishment, but as a laboratory. When you are constantly surrounded by people, you are caught in what I call the hive mind. We are social mimics. It is a survival mechanism. You mimic the vocabulary of your friends. You mimic the political opinions of your Twitter feed. You mimic the goals of your parents. You become an average of the inputs around you. Solitude is the only place where you can detox from the influence of others and find out what you actually believe. Do you actually like that music, or do you listen to it because it's cool? Do you actually want that corporate career, or is that just what society told you success looks like? Do you actually agree with that outrage on the news, or are you just infected by the emotional contagion? You cannot answer those questions in a crowd. The crowd is too loud. You can only answer them in the quiet. This leads to the concept of self-regulation. When you are an infant, you cannot regulate your own emotions. If you are hungry, you scream. If you are scared, you cry. You need a parent to soothe you. Growing up is the process of learning to soothe yourself, but many adults never finish that process. They still need external parents. They need a partner to tell them they are okay. They need a boss to tell them they did a good job. They need a text message to feel valid. Mastering solitude is the final step of growing up. It is looking at yourself in the mirror when you are anxious or sad or heartbroken and saying, "I got us. We are okay. I can handle this emotion without dumping it on someone else." When you can do that, you become dangerous. In a good way, you become uncheckable, because the worst thing the world can do to you is isolate you. But if you have already mastered isolation, they have no weapon left. If you can be happy alone, you are invincible. The practical protocol. So how do we do it? If you are terrified of being alone, how do you start? You do not run into a cave for a month. That will break you. You have to train it, just like a muscle. I have developed a 3-level protocol to help you move from beggar to king. Level 1, the commute. This is the easiest step. For the next week, whenever you are in transit driving, walking, taking the bus, do not put in headphones. No music, no news, no podcasts. Just you and the world. Your brain will fight you. It will scream, "This is boring." It will try to make you plan your grocery list or replay an argument from 2014. Let the boredom come. Ride the wave. Observe your surroundings. Look at the sky. Look at the people. You will realize that the world is actually quite rich when you aren't drowning it out. This breaks the addiction to constant input. Level 2, the solo date. This is the hardest one for most people, but it is the most transformative. I want you to go do something in public alone that is usually a social activity. Go to a movie theater alone. Go to a nice restaurant and sit at a table alone. Go to a coffee shop and just sit there. Don't open your laptop. Don't look at your phone. Just drink the coffee. You will feel the spotlight effect. You will think everyone is looking at you. You will think they are judging you. Look at that loser, he has no friends. I promise you, they are not looking at you. They are worried about themselves. They are worried about their own spotlight. But you need to feel that shame and realize it cannot hurt you. You need to desensitize yourself to the feeling of being seen alone. When you can eat dinner alone in a restaurant and feel completely at peace, you have unlocked a superpower. You have signaled to yourself that you are enough company for you. Level 3, the Monk Mode Weekend. Once you have mastered level 1 and 2, try this. Dedicate one weekend, Saturday morning to Sunday night, to complete solitude. Tell your friends you are busy. Turn your phone off, put it in a drawer. Stock up on food so you don't have to leave. Spend 48 hours with yourself. Read, write, meditate, exercise, stare at the wall. The first 12 hours will be restless. The next 12 will be emotional. But the final 24 hours will be pure clarity. You will find that your brain starts to solve problems that have been stuck for months. You will find that your anxiety evaporates because there is no one to perform for. Conclusion: the relationship you have with yourself is the longest relationship you will ever have. You will outlive your parents. Friends will drift away. Partners may leave. Children will grow up and move out. But you are with you from the first breath to the last breath. Does it make sense to spend your entire life trying to get away from the one person you can never escape? Does it make sense to be enemies with your permanent roommate? Make peace with yourself. Learn to sit in the empty room. Learn to love the silence. Because when you stop running from yourself, you stop running from life. You stop being a beggar and you become a sanctuary. And a sanctuary is a place where others come to find peace. Not because you need them, but because you have so much peace it overflows. I want to challenge you this week. Pick level 1, turn off the radio in the car. Start there. And if you are ready to declare your independence from the noise, I want you to go to the comments right now. Write this simple phrase: I am my own sanctuary. Write it to solidify it. Write it to tell the algorithm that you are choosing depth over distraction. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel. We are just getting started. Welcome to the quiet.